You're listening to the Para House Entertainment Network. Come join us as we take you deep into the fire to the paranormal realms of hauntings, UFOs, ETs, alien abductions, strange creatures, and the vastness of universal consciousness as we continue to seek what is not supposed to exist as we search for the truth that only comes from going into the fire. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Into the Fire. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're having a great Tuesday night. We are certainly on our way to having one because we've got two special people that we haven't had on for a long while, and we both, all of us here on the screen, enjoyed them so much. They're great, and can't wait to get to them. Let me bring in Billy and Tanya. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Fantastic. It's a great day, even though it's been raining for the last 2 days, and it starts to be a little sunshine today, and then blah, thunderstorms.
Yeah, they're coming
2
back
days in a row.
Yeah, I know. And now it's supposed to rain tomorrow, too. So.
That's okay. It snowed the other day.
I know. Welcome to Kentucky.
Snow,
It's
sleet,
wonderful here.
rain, all in
Tennessee.
one day.
Wait
Yeah.
5 minutes. It'll change.
Yes, you got it. You got it. Well, you know what? I'm hoping we're going to change a lot of people tonight because we've got two of the greatest people in the world. And we're going to bring them on in just a quick second. We've got, in fact, one of them has a special guest and a special announcement. I can't wait to hear about that because that's going to be really good. I'm going to let him introduce her. But tonight on Into the Fire, we have our special friends and our and great hosts of Let's Talk About It, Richard Rulin and Katie Turner, and we're going to bring them on right now. Hi, Katie.
Hi,
Richard.
How are you?
Now, we were talking about
Hey, how's it going?
We're outrageous, but we're talking about the special guest that Richard has in the announcement. And it's only right that we let you announce who you have there with you, and tell us a little bit about her.
Well, Lori and I met, and I don't know if it's a cursing or a blessing for her that I'm into paranormal, but she's fallen into the fold right away. She's a part of our team. She is knee deep into it, and we've decided to, she's decided to attempt to cut her throat on June 23rd of 2023 and marry me. So that's kind of where she's left herself as a victim. We'll see. I don't know. Y'all just pray for it. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, that is awesome. And we will always pray for you guys, but I know it's going to be a great thing. And we're very, very happy for both of you. And Katie,
thank you.
What's going on up there?
You know what? There's different parts of Canada that have snow, and there's different parts of Canada that are warm. I just so happen to be in the warm section today, so I'm quite happy. But no, spring is here. The grass is starting to come back, and there's buds on the trees, so that is a good sign.
It's a great sign. We're getting the same.
Life is coming back.
You've got it. That's what I'm saying. Yep, absolutely.
Not fast enough for me, unfortunately. I gotta tell you.
Every year that I get older, the same thing. It seems like the winter gets longer and longer, and it's not something that I enjoy at all. So as soon as the snow is gone, I am one happy camper, literally.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing.
Go
ahead, Richard.
No, I was going to say the paint on my car has changed. It went from gunmetal gray to yellow gray. You can always tell when it's spring.
I'll tell you the thing about I can tell by looking at the pictures up here on the screen that I definitely am the old guy here. So, but let me tell you something. The older you get, it goes faster and faster. But for some reason or other, winter seems longer and longer.
Right?
And
I think
It
it's
doesn't
hurt
end.
more.
Sure.
Hurt more.
yeah, and I got one thing to say about this year is what the heck is going on with the weather? I have never seen wind or anything else like we've had down here this year. It has been insane. But we're going to get on with the show here. Folks in the chat room, how y'all doing? Welcome to the show. We're excited that you're here. We are going to do a show tonight that's kind of a combination of the two. You know, we like to try to give out information, and we love to have you guys this show. And I know the same thing with the Let's Talk About It show. And Katie and Richards also tried to get it's an interactive show with their chat room. And we welcome that tonight. So we're looking for any questions or things that you would like to talk about tonight also. So we'll get on the way here in just a second. I think we just lost Richard, so hopefully he comes back here in a second. But hey, Billy, run through the well, wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead and run through the chat room for me real quick because I'm not in there.
Guys, I'm seeing a lot of you in here. Thank you for coming in. I'm sorry about last week. Things came up. Bridget Maynard, Mama Bear, my significant other's in there.
Uh-oh.
Third round. They're at the hall tonight.
We owe big thanks to Third Realm too, by the way, because I was up there today, and they spent 3 wonderful days at the hall, and they have just done some fantastic work up there. Not only doing paranormal investigations, but taking care of the hall. And dang it, we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Isaac was up there today also, and we were looking at the wonderful work that you did. They painted the doors upstairs, and they've really been looking at the hall and helping us out tremendously. And we thank you because so many teams don't do that. They just come in, they do their thing, and they go. And they're vacuuming and doing all kinds of things. So Third Realm Paranormal, bless you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it so much for taking care of what we consider to be our home and a wonderful historical site. So my heart goes out to you and with warm wishes and large thank yous. So thank you.
I see Frankie Lynn in here. Vicky Norse. Hey, Tara.
Hey, Frankie. Hey,
Sheila
Tara.
Holland. Sheila Holland. Save yourself.
Ready?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Hi, Sheila.
Joanne Stewart.
Hello,
Miss
Joanne.
Moore Hughes. Thank you,
Hello,
guys. Thank you for coming in and joining us
Hey,
tonight.
everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. All right. Well, since Richard's done, so we're going to go right to Katie. Katie, tell me
No
what's been going
pressure.
on with you.
No pressure.
Yeah, none at all, because you had so many things going on before the 2020 thing going on, and I know you and Richard both are psychic mediums, and you also do a lot of things in the paranormal. What's been going on with all that? I mean, since the lockdown, and then maybe we'll go into what's been happening up there in Canada, because sorry, guys. As long as Facebook lets me talk about just a little pinch of something, I'm going to do it. So,
Well, to be honest
here
with
we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the paranormal is pretty cool. We don't have a lot of the places that you guys have. You have some really cool haunts, and that's not to say they're not here. We just haven't discovered them, or we don't have the public haunts like you guys. But we do a lot of residential investigations, private investigations, and so on. There are some public places that we go to, but once the whole 2020, 2021 thing hit, which shall not be named, it basically came to a standstill. You couldn't go into homes, you couldn't go in. So as a team, we had to really slow down, and that was tough. We did still, stay tight and obviously go to certain places that were public, that we were allowed to go, that you didn't have to check into. You could just kind of show up. So we did some investigating and kept ourselves going in that regard. But it's been tough. Things are just starting to open up here in the province of Ontario anyway. And it's hard. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get back to somewhat normal, and we're going to be able to continue investigating. through this, I've gotten a lot of calls, a lot of calls, and I do my best to try and aid people, to walk people through how to protect themselves without actually going in. But if there's ever a child involved, if there's ever somebody who's feeling like they're in harm's way, I would still go to the house and I would still try to do cleansings and try to do clarity work for them to try and help them out, because you don't want to feel vulnerable, right? The last thing you want is somebody to feel like they can't stay in their own home. So in a paranormal stance, that's basically where we're at. Richard and I, we're really grateful that we were able to continue to do the show. Last year, unfortunately, I did come down with COVID quite seriously. And so I was down and out for a little while, but Richard was able to keep it going. And so basically, him and I get to live vicariously through the camera. At least I can on my end. I got to give a shout out. We have some pretty cool fans, some really great supportive family members and fans that stick with us. So thanks, guys, for coming on the show tonight with us. And it's a pleasure. We get to talk and be with our paranormal family. So what can be better than that?
Right, exactly. That's one of the things that helps so much. And I fell sick also last year, and Billy and Tanya took the reins and did a great job. And you know what? We love our people that watch our show continually and are there to support us. And we can't. It's such an important thing, and they give us so much feedback. They give us so much things and questions and so forth that we just really have to have them on here, and they give great support, and we thank them also, and we thank your fans for tuning in tonight also. It's just it's a big family. So going on to that, I caught a little bit of I didn't get to watch all of it. But I got to watch your last show, Signs, and it was just awesome. An awesome show. And listen, chat room, if you haven't seen it, go on back and get to it, because you're going to really want to look at it. It's a great show. It's a great show. A lot of good information, a lot of good things. So have we got any questions going from the chat room at this time?
Yeah, they're starting to come through. Real quick though, before we go there, Katie, I know things are still fairly strict across the border there.
Yeah.
But you did say that they are starting to lighten up a little bit.
They are. So some of the restrictions, you don't have to wear masks in certain spots. You do not have to show proof of vaccination to go into certain areas. They're starting to kind of allow more people in. There was a capacity that was allowed in certain areas. And so they're almost back to full capacity. Concert halls and stuff like that, they're able to do it. They're still encouraging 6 feet apart. They're still saying wear a mask. They're still encouraging vaccinations, all of those things, but it's not a mandatory thing at this point. Some things still are, but we're able to live a little bit and get out there. I have to tell you though, I don't know a person. I can count on one hand maybe the amount of people who haven't gotten COVID that I know. Most people that I know have gotten it, and thank goodness it's just a mild case. But so that's kind of what we're doing. The snow's melting and people are waking up.
I know a lot of the paranormal shows are aired in Canada.
Yes.
Put together in Canada. Are you seeing an increase in that coming back, or is everybody still kind of on the fence?
So to be honest with you, there has not been a lot. They're slowly starting to come back. In terms of Canadian production, I do think they're starting to get into production again, which is really great. There's new pitches for new shows and stuff like that. But again, we live vicariously through you guys. A lot of the shows that are American run or produced, we get to see up here, and some of them we don't. We don't have the television capacity that you guys have. So there's certain streaming networks that you guys get that we don't. And
well, the reason I asked that is because for those of you that don't know Katie, but she looks familiar to you, you've probably seen her on a few of the shows. As a consultant.
A lot of shows.
we got us a
yes.
Yeah, we got one of them. We got one of those paranormal superstars on the show tonight.
Oh, please.
I
I've
see
been
that
told a
Richard is
lot of
back
things
in the
in my
green
life.
room.
That
Richard, are
is
you
not
good
one
to
of
come
them.
back in, buddy?
No,
So I've been getting messages. He's trying to come back in, but he's having a hard time. He says he got blown out and he's having a hard time getting back in. So I don't know if we can try and send him another link.
No,
I can try and send
he's
him
in the
one.
green room. I'm just trying
Oh,
to
is he
make sure
good?
he's good to go with audio and
Good.
everything.
Yep.
Richard, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come back in.
I can't see him on mine yet. So.
He's ready. Here he comes.
All right, great, excellent.
There it is. Jesus.
And I can't see him on mine
Trying
yet
to figure
either.
out who at StreamYard I pissed off.
Did anybody else see him? I mean, I'm like kind of going.
Really?
this
You
is-
can't see him?
Wait,
I can't see
Can
him
you
at
see
all.
me?
I can't see anybody.
you.
I had a thing that said
I
you
can
still
see
want to
you.
stay
Tell
on
me you
Facebook
can see us.
just a minute ago. I don't know if I got kicked off. I don't know if I don't know if you can see me or not.
Yep, we can see you.
It's another one of those weird Facebook moments. Is Nikki
Right.
in there? Hi, Nikki. How are you doing?
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yeah,
And we got
happy
Nikki
birthday.
Bowen here too.
Mm-hmm.
So how old are you, Nikki? I can't wait to see you put that in the chat room.
She's 29. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure she told me she was 29.
Yes, I think you're right. But Richard, can you hear us?
Oh yeah.
I can't hear him either.
You can't hear him. I got him. Richard,
I
what
can
you
hear
been
him.
up to, buddy?
Let me go out.
I'm
Let me
doing.
see if
Hold
I
on,
can
man.
come
We just
back in.
check
I
audio.
can hear you.
You're good
I'll
on
be
our
right-
end, Richard.
Yeah,
You're
I'll be
good
right
on
back.
my
I'm
end,
good with
Richard.
audio.
Go ahead and run the show, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Sounds good. Tell us what you've been up to, Richard.
Well, I mean, we did our final tour for probably a little while at Hamilton House. It was probably the most active investigation we've ever done and or tour. We were actually kind of helping out some starter investigators, get some things done evidence wise, and we're looking for a new place to run an event. I got a couple of ideas, but we're going to this place called Octagon Hall
No.
in May 14th. Got a couple of people going. You might know who they are.
I wish.
I know.
I wish.
I can't. Come on.
Oh,
Oh,
Come on, Katie.
I didn't do
There we
it.
go.
Whatever it was, I didn't do it.
Bear's typing with his thumbs again.
yeah,
Yes, I am.
you guys up there.
Well, you
I'm
know,
clicking
Katie's
like a
very
magnet.
good at our arts, and we've had a lot of great
Screens.
experiences.
Yep.
We've had
Well,
a
the
lot
way
of great
it's
experiences.
displayed now, you got the two couples and the two individual looks. That's pretty cool. Good idea.
Look at
Good
that.
job, Bear.
Well, there you go. Just it's just luck.
But yeah,
uh,
Billy, we're set to come on out there and hang out with you guys and have some fun and investigate May 14th. And we're really looking forward. It's been a while since the three of us at least have gotten together, and we had a lot of fun last time we did. I think Billy got pickpocketed and someone grabbed his ass, and some fun stuff like
You
that.
know, if you
Just
ever if you ever happen to come across that footage again, I'd love to see it from another angle. Because the
Yeah,
angle
honestly,
had
I have
wasn't very
to
comfortable.
try to track it down. But it was interesting because Billy, for those of you that don't know, Billy and Tanya, they're both great help. But Billy is usually very cool, calm, and collected. A seasoned investigator, a very, very calm guy, and he was running camera for us on our filming. And man, he just had a spirit in the building that just happened to like what he was packing.
Trying to check his oil.
yeah.
I did come up about 2 feet off the ground. I'm
You
thankful I
did,
didn't
bro.
drop the
You
camera.
did.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly.
Great job, dude.
I got my Earl
Exactly.
checked.
Well, we're looking
I'll
forward.
tell you honestly, I found out on my phone. I'm a bit of a geek, but I got the new Samsung Galaxy S22, and it has a new night mode on the phone. Oh
Mhm.
my!
Really? Is it cool?
It's gonna come in
excellent.
handy at Octagon Hall.
Oh yeah.
Well, we can't wait for you to get there. Boy, I'll tell you one thing: the hall's been kind of very strange, and we've we've had some occurrences there that just are mind blowing. And I want to talk about one of those tonight because I've got everybody here that I'd love to discuss this story because it's mind blowing. It just twists my mind. I don't even understand what the heck went on. So it would be great to kick around just for a second if you guys don't mind. You want to hear the
man, go ahead.
latest? Excellent.
Yes, of course.
Well,
yeah, Katie's got to live vicariously through our stories because she's
there you
always
go.
in
There you
Canada.
go. Well, we
It's
were up
One
in
of these days. One of
It's
these
true.
days.
Hey, you know what? I gotta before I do anything else. Billy and Tanya and I were on the back porch the other night, about a week ago, and we saw something out in the cemetery. And you know, we are those kind of people that will go out and look at it and say, "Oh yeah, we want to go out and see this." And what the heck is that? Let me tell you something. We both, all of us, all three of us, were up there on the porch going,
Nope.
Nope, we ain't going down and look at that. I don't know what that is, but it don't look right. And
So I call that a code brown.
like,
Well,
Code Brown.
we call that listening
What
to
a Code Brown.
We can
Nice.
discuss the
Code
term
Brown.
if you're trying to do
I
it
like
way.
that. I like that. I'm going to
Hey,
steal that one.
talking
I
about Code Brown.
guarantee you that. Yeah. Code Brown. Code Brown.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've got another Code Brown moment for you. Thursday night, we had some investigators in the hall, and one of them was their birthday, and they invited us back up, Isaac and myself. Isaac is Billy's grandson, and Isaac has been there at the hall for since he was 2 years old. You know, and I've watched him grow from, you can't see it, but let's look at from this size all the way up to his 6'4" self. And he is now the executive director of Octagon Hall, which we are so proud that he is. He's filling Billy's shoes, and I get to work with that family continually. So it's just a great thing.
Love him.
But
to death.
yeah,
Love him
oh
to death.
yeah, we're gonna
He's
have to
still
have him
having
on.
his
one time.
good moments, though. You know, we're
Yes, he
still
is.
on the wheel,
Yeah.
but the body's
Yeah.
not going anywhere.
Yeah, he has a lot of those lately, but he had one on that on Thursday night. He had another one. So as he's going more and more to the hall, he's seeing what the hall does to people's mind and what it does to your and how paranormal it actually is. So Thursday night, we're all sitting around, and I had gone to get a cup of coffee early, and I started the coffee, and they said, "Oh, we're going to do a spirit box session." So I left my coffee in the Keurig in the gift shop. All right. And I go to the table and we do a ghost box session, a session there in the dining room. And there are 6 people there, excluding myself. So I was the 7th. So we're all sitting there. Isaac's at one end of the table, at the around the table, and I have a person that's in if you've been to the hall, you know, the big pinkish chairs that sit behind you. One of them was sitting in the lounger chair. And she was right behind me. And we finished this ghost box session, and that was the end of that session itself. And Bear is thinking, "Oh man, I'm going to get my coffee. I can't wait to get my coffee." So as soon as it's over, they talk a little bit, and I says, "Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to get a cup of coffee." So I got up, I walked to the end of the table, go into the other room, go to the gift shop, don't turn the light on, don't do anything, just grab the coffee, come back, sit back down. And we just continue talking. About 4 minutes later, the light comes on in the gift shop. And Isaac is sitting there going, "Hey, the light just came on in the gift shop." And I says, "Well, I didn't turn it on. I didn't leave it on when I went to go get a cup of coffee." And when I said that, you would have thought that you could hear a pin drop in the Octagon Hall. Everybody looked around and went, "You never got any coffee." I'm holding the coffee cup right in my hand, and I'm like going, yes, I did. I got up and I got a cup of coffee. No, you didn't. You were right here and we were all talking to you. And I went, no, I wasn't here. I went outside, and so we have cameras at the hall. We go look at the cameras, right? So Isaac runs in there and looks at the cameras real fast, and he goes, he did go get a cup of coffee. And then everybody else is going, oh, no, he didn't, because we all saw him and we were talking to him. So we go back in. So I said, okay, let me see this footage. So I went back in, and when I went around the end of the table at the far end going to the gift shop, the camera goes, bloop. And then when I come back through, the camera goes, bloop, and I sit down. During the time when I was gone, you could hear my voice coming directly from where I was sitting. I was talking. I never said a word when I went to go get my coffee. I never said anything at all. And what's really weird is you can see everyone sitting around the table and they're all looking at me. So as I'm talking, they're looking at me. And one girl at the end that was sitting next to me turns around like this and goes like this. And is looking, staring right at me. And you can look at the chair and it's empty. So what the heck do you call that?
Doppelganger.
Parallel shift and some sort of a dimensional shift. That's pretty cool. You could have been tapping into different timelines. Absolutely.
It was so weird. Yep. That ended the investigation because people were going, I can't comprehend that. I know I saw you sitting here. You were here, but you weren't here. And that was what was bothering people, and they couldn't take it. They were like going, I'm going to check myself into the Rivendell area up here for mental health because something's not registered right, So
yeah.
But have you ever heard of that before?
Absolutely. I'll tell you a really fast story, and I don't think a lot of people realize how common this is. So. Mm-hmm. My best friend and her husband happen to be friends with my husband. So my best friend and I have horses together, and when we go to the barn, we're always together. So one weekend, my best friend said her and her husband came in the house, and we were discussing the next time we were going to be going off into the barn. And so we had this big, long 10-minute discussion on how her husband was going to stop by and the boys could hang out in the garage and her and I could go and do our horse thing. And then she would come swing back around and pick him up. And it was a huge discussion. Long story short, the next day, she shows up at my door, like at the house, and I'm waiting for her husband to come in, and he doesn't come in the house. And so I thought, that's kind of weird, because you'd think that they would come in and from there we would all exit. So I go out to the driveway and I get in our car, and I kind of said to her, where's your husband? And she said, what are you talking about? And I said, what do you mean? What am I talking about? We had this discussion yesterday about what was going to go down and, kind of the timings. And she had no idea what we were talking about, to the point where I actually went and got my husband and said to him, come and witness this, because we all had this discussion. And she swears up and down they never had this discussion. And I think a lot of times we blame each other. He said, she said, or I know, you said you were going to do this. And I really think that we do dimensional shifts more than we realize. We tap into parallel dimensions, and we don't know what's happening. And so the more that you're kind of aware of it, the more that you kind of take that into consideration, the more you see it or you notice it. And that's a perfect example where there's time shifts, there's time warps, there's, you're doing dimensional shifts and you don't even know you're doing it. So you could have tapped into one timeline and then tapped back into it, and they didn't even know you were missing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And the great thing about it is I brought back a cup of coffee.
Right. Yeah, that's the first thing I asked him. I said, well, did you come back with a cup of coffee? We showed up there Saturday night, and Isaac already had it queued up ready to show us. And I watched, and I'm like, how do you guys miss the bull in the china shop?
Right.
You don't.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was just that crazy. And you could hear my voice, but you couldn't see me sitting in the chair. nothing. And it was just weird, totally weird. But that's the hall. That's the kind of stuff that Octagon Hall brings you at all kinds of times. Now,
Yep, Saturday night. Saturday night was a pretty good night. Bear actually captured some thermal footage. Tanya kind of cued him into it, and she nailed it. Bear's got a shadow figure caught on thermal.
Yep.
Wow.
And it was a great one, and it's one of those 8 or 9 foot boogers. It's behind Tanya because you can see it come out. It's blocking the doorway, but you can see the doorway behind it, and its head's way over the doorway of it.
And I don't know what it is about that foyer area, but that guy seems to like that area.
He
I
does.
believe this is the same one we captured before when we caught the apparition going for the door.
Yeah.
By any chance, would it be close to the gift shop where you got your coffee?
Oh, it's actually right near the front door.
Huh?
You know,
A lot of times
it's right. It's the foyer to the front door, and there is a hiding spot that has been opened there at in that foyer, so we can show people where how they got into that area and all that good stuff, and how Caldwell would hide men behind the walls and so forth. Confederate soldiers when Union was there, but it's pretty interesting. So, and I mentioned Third Realm Paranormal earlier tonight, and thanking them for all their hard work that they've done in the hall today, and spiffing it up, which is great. But I had a thought about them tonight, because when the first thunderstorm rolled through, I went, "Oh, how I'd love to be at Octagon Hall."
wow.
I mean,
well, I know the one time that we went, it was really, really good. We had some really great evidence capture, and I'm really hoping to at least duplicate it when we go back. Maybe we'll just keep on using Billy as bait. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he is great bait. But now
he really is.
Yeah.
He has a new name there now.
What's that?
They call him the Little One.
A little one?
Yes.
The
Nice.
little one. I just call him Nomi.
Wow. Okay. Now we had I know the one time we were upstairs in the surgery room.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The surgery room, is that what we're calling it?
Yes. Yeah.
So we were up there taking photos. And in one photo, we've got 2 paranormal events going on at the same time. And then we also captured that really great footage of the servant lady who came into the green bedroom.
Yes.
And sat down between myself and another investigator and just planted herself right there.
Yeah.
And it's all caught on camera. I mean, it was amazing. There was actually an additional photo caught that somehow got lost. I don't know how it got lost. On somebody's phone. Well, we're in the bedroom with the little girl.
The nursery.
Forgive me, I don't remember. Huh?
The nursery room, yeah. Or what we call
All right,
Mary's
and we were in that room, and there's that bookcase along the back wall. And when you go in through the door, there's that bookcase against that back wall. Or whatever it is. Looks like a bookcase, but it's got very long shelf spaces in between.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on a chair there. We were doing an EVP session, and somebody was just taking shots with their phone camera. And literally, I saw it. Right behind me is a girl in a white nightgown with long black hair, just standing inside the bookcase.
Yeah.
Right behind me. So yeah, I'm eager to get back in there again.
What did the nightgown look like?
It was a light colored nightgown. It had some ruffle work on it along the neck and along the sleeves. At best you can make it out on the phone anyway.
Yeah.
But you can obviously tell it was a young girl. It wasn't a very big person. It was a young girl. She was just inside the bookcase, like she was standing inside of it and crouched down. But you can see her directly behind me. There was just a lot of interaction while I was there with me, and I didn't notice until we looked back at the you know, you can tell the energy's there. You can feel the energy. You can sense the energy. You can see the energy. But to realize how right on top of you they were almost the entire night, I thought was really interesting. And I can't wait for you to experience it, honey. I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's going to be a blast.
if we can ever, you know, we have free Sherry nights. Now we're going to have to try to free Katie to get Katie to come down.
Right.
Please. Please.
Yeah.
She just wants a vacation out of Canada. That's what she wants anyway.
Exactly. I'm just going to start hitchhiking. I'll just hitchhike, thumb it
There
down
you
there.
go.
Right.
Yeah.
Paranormal road trip.
Yep.
Yeah, we come to pick you up, but we can't cross the border.
Bear, they wouldn't let us over there anyway.
I know, it's not the truth. That's
Crazy.
yeah. So
So are you guys any closer to having the borders open, Katie?
Yes, there are the borders are open to people. I believe that by the end of the month, you're going to be able to drive over without proof of vaccine. I think. Now, do not quote me on this. Somebody in the chat room might be able to give a little bit more info. That's how much I've paid attention lately. I've had to shut the news off. I'll be honest with you. I've had to shut it off.
That's all I do. I don't
Right.
listen.
Okay.
Well, one thing I did see on the news today, there is a new airline coming out of Canada that goes straight to Nashville. I think it's called Flair.
Cool.
It's
Well, there you go.
It's a new airline straight from Canada to Nashville. Come on down.
Right.
Right on it. I'm on it.
Yeah.
One minute.
Yeah, Katie's going to start a GoFundMe page to get me the hell out. That's what it's going to be called, Get Me the Hell Out. And it's just going to be a GoFundMe page just to be able to pay for the airplane ticket to get out of the country.
Yes.
Right?
You're going to need a C-30 because I got to bring horses with me.
Yeah. Be a C-130. There you go.
So
Well, that probably just for her paranormal equipment alone, you'd have to have the C-130, but you never know.
Yes,
And my
exactly.
luggage. And my luggage. A girl can never have too much luggage. Come on. I have to dress for the weather.
Right.
Yeah, and
Which
you don't know
changes
what's
every
gonna be
5
down
minutes.
here.
Yeah.
It'll change every 5 minutes.
Yep.
But I will be prepared.
Right.
People make fun
There
of me
you
until
go.
I pull the Band-Aids out, until I pull the first aid kit out, the umbrella out, the sunscreen out, and then nobody's laughing when I have what you need.
Yep.
Well, yeah, truth. That's facts. But yeah, I know it's got to be tough because what is the rule with the U.S. is you can go out, but you can't come in. You can't come back.
Wow.
I think that's the latest bid. You can go out, but unless you have a vaccination proof, you can't get back in.
Wow. That's
And
Yeah.
that includes your boosters.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're considering taking a cruise for our honeymoon,
Mhm.
and I've got to get shot. I got to get the shot because I haven't done it. I've refused to do it, and but now it's mandatory. If we want to travel abroad and a cruise is going to be abroad, I got to have the shot. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you come up, maybe we can get in touch with Billy Wilkerson and them and maybe get a little tour of the Old Stone Jail and the Historical Society too when you come up.
From WTF Paranormal.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's the Old Stone Jail. I've been interested in seeing. That would be interesting.
It's
But
great.
I got to get my fix. I've got to get my fix at the hall first.
Well, I wasn't lying to you when I told you it's got a knack for calling you back.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh no, it does absolutely. I mean, you can't, and I'm not pitching this because y'all are friends of mine. I know the place. I've been there. It's hot, and it's just one of those kind of things. You got buildings. Just to be real, you got buildings out there charging $600, $700, $800 for people to come out and do an investigation. We can only be there 7 to 6 hours. And then with the cost of the hall and the amount of time you guys give and the activity level that's there, you guys shouldn't have an open date for the next 6 years.
It stays pretty booked.
It does say pretty booked.
Yeah.
It's really becoming more and more booked as it is. Back a few years ago.
Now, it's probably going to look a little bit different to you, Richard, when you come up this time.
Why? What have you all done?
Oh, it's a secret.
I was saying.
Well,
Always the secret.
I'll
That's
tell
great.
you, the wooded areas around it always look kind of like terrible. You couldn't get into it and everything else. Those have all been cleared out, and so it's
Oh,
open.
wow. Okay.
So you can definitely see shadow figures and everything else going around. So it's and we're trying to keep it spruced up and just be that way. We're actually going to put we're taking it back to the old days where we're going to put sheep on the property, not only as because they
Cool.
did have farm animals on it, but what we're going to do is
In Kentucky, you're putting sheep on a property?
yes, yeah, and they're also great for lawnmowers.
landscaping.
You don't need a lawnmower when you have a sheep around. And they're a little bit easier on things other than the goat. So
Now, Richard, you can actually stand on the back porch and see the slave cemetery from there.
Well, you know what's funny is when I went down the family cemetery, family plots are right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's that one stone to the left of the center stone that literally was yellow, white, glowing light out of the stone. And I'm not talking about little speck, the whole stone. I remember
Okay,
showing you
middle
guys
one?
the video, that picture.
The middle one?
It was solid white light. But I remember walking through the rest of that trail beyond the family plot to get to the other site, grave site. And I remember, you know that feeling when you walk and you know you're being watched?
Mhm.
Yep.
And I was walking through that wooded area, and I remember looking to my left going, who the hell is watching me? Because I could feel it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. Here we go. So, yeah, it ought to be real fun, I think. I think it's going to be a blast.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's going to be a blast for you too, because believe me, it can come out. And when the people who have the ability and have that feel with their body and listen to the inner parts of their mind and get the information up front. I don't claim that I'm psychic. I don't think Billy claims that he's psychic or any other way. But let me tell you something. I can claim that I can feel when something's staring at you. When you have that energy with your body, you feel that,
Mhm.
and you know what's about ready to come out and say hello to you. So it's one of those things. Now you guys,
The other night, what we saw out there, we all looked at each other and went, nope.
yep.
You had
My,
it.
my dumb ass would have kept right on going out there at it. It would have.
Same.
I would have.
Well, you know
You
what?
would have had to have drugged me back. I would have went ahead and went anyway. I'm like, I'll take him on. Don't worry about it. We'll arm wrestle for it.
Yeah, you wouldn't let me.
I
No,
got to tell you something. Some of the things that we've arm wrestled in our day, but let me tell you something. There's this new kind of crypto, and I'm not too sure that wasn't it that we're looking at. It was, people have been seeing a lot of glimmer, what we call the glimmer things. It's almost like the predator, and it moves out throughout the hall, around out there. And I would say, if I had to take a guess, that's what we were looking at. It was self-illuminating. It was big, tall, and ominous.
We were watching it, and we felt like it was watching us.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it wasn't.
It was like a standoff.
But you couldn't pick it up on a thermal.
No.
Huh.
Yeah. It was.
That's
It
all.
was
You could see it with your naked eye, but it wouldn't come up on a thermal.
And the
Nope.
animals were going nuts that night.
Yep.
yep.
Wow.
And then some other animal went totally nuts, but I've never even heard before. I don't even know what it is. And people have been finding these weird tracks around the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
it's always strange when you get pictures. People send you pictures and say, "Oh, I found this behind the barn," and you go, "Ooh!" And I consider myself,
And I will say that it had 5 toes.
yeah, yeah,
And it was
Big.
like the size of bear's foot.
yeah, maybe a little.
Okay.
Bit. So, but
I'll have to show you a picture of it.
yeah, there's some strange.
Hey, yeah,
things.
send it away, man. I'd love to see it. And honestly, I'll tell you, the trip to the hall was initiated by
Really?
More than
Way to
anything
go,
else.
Lori.
I was worried when we first got together. I'm like, she's really not going to be as in depth in this as I am. And the next thing I know, the first thing I hear from her is, "Do we have any place to investigate this weekend? Do we have any place we can go?" And then somehow, when I mentioned Octagon Hall, it came to me like, "So when are we going?" I'm like, "Oh my god, okay."
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it came to me.
Yeah. You know,
But
it's
yeah, I mean, we're just so looking forward to it. But yeah, that place has always held some mystique and some, because as a psychic medium, I had never had I call it a head turn. I remember going in there, and I spoke with you, Bear, somewhat privately down in the dining room about it, and I'm like, why? Because everything I was getting, it just didn't make sense for what was happening inside the building.
Yeah.
Later on, I got to piece a little bit of it together, and it made sense then. But that is just one of those buildings. If you have abilities, it's going to test it.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
lot
It's
of
going to
history
test
there.
it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of history. That's why we always say we don't just have one or two, we have hundreds.
Yeah. And they all
Yeah.
want to talk. And they all have a story to tell you. And some of them corroborate. That's why we don't tell everybody everything that went on at the hall. Because when a psychic medium or someone like that comes in and starts asking questions, then we tell them, okay, you tell me, and then I'll vet it for you if I can. You know, it's all, you know, and that's what you guys want also. You want verification, and you want, you want it to be vetted. Because if I can say,
Yeah.
yep, we don't mention that, but you're right on. What else can you tell me about it? Because
Yeah, you and I had a pretty decent conversation about the things that aren't really discussed.
Yeah.
That night, I remember.
Well, there's
I
more.
just remember you just kind of looked. You're kind of looking at me, going, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay." I'm like, "Okay." It was fun. It
Yeah.
is nice to go down the road less traveled as a psychic medium. I think, you can go and you can hear all about, Waverly and this, that, and the other. And I mean, who doesn't know how active those places are?
Right.
But for me as a psychic medium, I think Katie can kind of, I think, confirm the thought process I'm having here. But you like to go to places a lot of people haven't trotted, just so you can get your own experiences, and you can share those with people. And no offense, I like the oh shit moments. Forgive my language. I love giving people the oh shit moments. But it's just kind of one of those things that I like going to the places that are just, the road less traveled. You the same way, aren't you, Katie?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm
You like
having
Katie?
I'm having major technical difficulties on this end. I don't know. Am I coming in clear?
Yeah, you're coming in perfect. You're coming in perfect.
Yeah, you're coming in fine.
Yeah, no, it's very, very in and out with you guys. I apologize. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to listen to the podcast. So as far as the beaten path, Richard, you were talking about the beaten path. Yeah, I like to try and hit places that, people haven't been before. I like to see the new stuff.
Right.
I mean, I have my favorite haunts that are very famous around here, or infamous, I should call it, that I'm addicted to. I'd love to keep going back, but I'm also not afraid to kind of step into the unknown and to go to places that people don't know. For those of you that want to get into something that is unheard of, start doing some history research. Start doing some research of where you think a battle could have taken place, or something tragic could have happened, or just because a hospital doesn't stand at the moment where you think it is, you could go to a plot of land that it was there and still get amazing results. So, getting into those places that aren't very well known, to me, is the most exciting.
And
Yeah.
you said that we love that part. And there's I don't know if you ever had the ghost biker on Miranda Young on your show. Look her
Not
up.
yet.
She's very special. That's basically what she decided that she was going to do. She goes to these small towns, finds the history, and folks, I can't tell you enough what Katie just mentioned about history. If you're a paranormal investigator, you've got to be a researcher, and you got to love history. If you don't, You're just not going to be much of anything in a paranormal investigator. All you got to do is go there and see the place, and you're not going to know what to ask, what to do, or anything. But open the doors to your mind and to locations by studying the history. That was a great point, Katie. We get the opportunity to do some. We've got an event coming up in June. And when is that? June 15th?
Which dinner are we talking about?
We're talking about the
Which
one.
one?
We're talking about the wonderful Gaines House, also known as the Kentucky Murder House.
Well, let's see here real quick.
Yeah, you can bring it up for me, can't you?
There we
That
go.
sounds like a road trip.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's an awesome road trip. This is the Gaines House. It's known as the Kentucky Murder Suicide House, and it goes back to the 1790s. And we're going to be having a wonderful investigation there. We're going to have a Paracon, and we're going to have Ray Saminsky there, who is all about UFOs. Dayton, Ohio, where the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is. You got Dave Spinks, Serenity Jenny for Dave, of course, everything. And Serenity Jenny, consciousness and readings and so forth like that. And then you've got the Night Stalkers that are going to be leading the hunt, and also talking about the paranormal that day. So going to be an exciting place, and it's got some history to it, and it's one of those places that doesn't get investigated very often. And
some of you may recognize it a little bit. It was formerly investigated with TAPS.
Mm-hmm.
It was on one of their episodes. But,
it was closed. It
okay.
was closed, and it is the TAPS. It was on Discovery Plus, and it was this year's episode. And I think it was episode number 5. And I think they called it the Gaines Horror House or something.
But I got to read an article from way back when, 1800s, Bear? Is that
Yeah,
right?
18 back in the 1899.
The number of deaths and murder and just things around the property was just insane. I was like, well, no wonder they call it that.
Mhm.
Well, they have a building here in Lafayette, Georgia, that it's called the Marsh House. And the Marsh House actually had a history where somebody was doing, am I wrong about this? Funerals. They were doing a funeral service, and they were burying the bodies in the backyard. Yeah. So there's
Talk about getting away with murder.
Yeah. What was said that actually be happening is that this person was performing funerals, and instead of putting them in the coffins, they were burying them in the backyard.
Yeah. Well, they say that they put them in a coffin. After everybody left, they'd empty them out, throw them in the back, and then use the same coffin for the next guy.
That's awesome. That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have, we had our last event at the Hamilton House, and the place was so charged. We actually had family there that night too, and one of our kids is he's 19, and he actually was a target. He got targeted. We had an investigator actually watch Shadow literally tackle him to the ground. Watched it happen. And it's surprising. It just. I'm saying this to say it's kind of funny how some locations will shake it up, and they'll show you, here's what I'm capable of. And that wasn't a pleasant experience for Logan, because he also got scratched 3 times, witnessed by people not touching anything about himself at all, and they come up with scratches all over his back. Just a really crazy experience. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how, because the energy, we talked about this on our shows. The energy is very cyclical. It'll go in, it'll come out, it'll do different things depending upon how I think the energy changes. for that energy. So I think if there's something that leads the energy in a different direction, it'll follow it to a point, I think. Again, it's my opinion. I don't get paid very much for those, but it is what it is. But that is what I tend to see with locations that I've been to multiple times, is that the energy dynamic changes. And you get to a point where you get there, you go, ooh, this is new, or ooh, this is familiar, but there always seems to be a change somewhere in the link of the chain itself. There seems to be a change once in a while, kind of like a changing of the guard to a point with the energy, because energy is, again, to me, it's cyclical. So, we do see a lot of changes with locations, and I think it's going to be interesting how Octagon Hall has changed for the investigation coming up May 14th.
Causes
I think
that?
that'll be interesting.
What do you guys think causes that shift in energy? Why is the energy, the energy, like we talked today, and when we were all in the green room earlier, about how it felt a little different this morning and how it changes. But the energy in many houses go on off like a light switch. But why do you think that energy spins around and changes from year to year as it gets older? It's older. Is it picking up the energy of all, like through 2020 and 2021? This is my thought, just throwing it out there. All of the negative crap and all the stuff and all the lies and everything else, whatever you make it out to be, it has been downtrodden for so many people. So the negative energy and the fear level is so brought the frequencies down so low. Do you think that affects the paranormal in that way, where it's more aggressive or more, or makes it totally change what the location used to be to what it is now?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it again too. Energy is a big conversation on our show. I think you get to a point where when the energy changes with people, the energy is going to change around it. Because I'm a big believer as well that energy breeds energy. So I think when you go into it and people are, downtrodden, they're having a hard time, they're coming through negative, they tend to stay on that lower vibration level. And I think that'll also attract lower vibrational energy. And when you increase the number of people that are living in that, you're going to increase the change in the energy surrounding them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of evident when we went to the Hamilton house, and Logan was with us because he's going through some really difficult things right now. And his energy was very just low level. And Richard had even talked to him and told him he didn't think it was a really good idea for him to go. But then he talked to him about some things that he could do to try to bring his energy level up. He agreed to do them, but was not successful at them. And then we saw a direct impact of his energy level at Hamilton House that night.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, what do you think about it?
I think I absolutely agree. I think that energy likes to take the path of least resistance. And so when you're meeting, for example, skepticism, walls up, bad night, you're worried about paying the car insurance, you're worried about, what groceries you got to get the next day. When you're not focused, you're not in the present moment, I feel like that kind of puts a wall up. I think that, as Richard mentioned, a lot of energy is cyclical, and I often refer to it as kind of like a race, or a horse at a race. The biggest expulsion of energy is when they first get out of the gate, right? And by the end of the race, they're starting to lose their stamina. But if you give them a break and then you put them back in the cage, they're going to give you another big expulsion of energy. It may not be as big as the first kind of race, but they're still going to try. I think the same thing is present with paranormal energy. They give you a lot, and then it tampers out, and then they have to come back and do it again. And it goes the same on this side of the energy field too. As a psychic medium, doing readings for people, I get tired, and I need to build that stamina back. I need to make sure that I'm getting my rest, and I'm kind of back up on my game before I can start kind of being as good as possible to be able to read the energy. So I think it goes both ways. And there's a lot of hidden factors in it. Again, path of least resistance. So if you're dealing with skeptics, if you're dealing with a thick building, if you're dealing with, it goes down to temperature, it goes down to time of year, time of day, where you are on the calendar. All of those things to me are circumstantial moments that are going to change how energy works. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I like that too. I agree because throughout the seasons, there's different energies all the time. Plus, what events happen at the house that we may not know about or anything like that, it will be different. You can go to there in January and you'll have a different event. When you go there in August, you're going to have a different type because something might have happened there at that time. And that's where it's important to know the history of who you're going to be involved with and be able to change it because the energy switches so quick. I've got a question on the thing. I was just looking at the chat board. I see Tim Smith says, Katie, do you do any live investigations?
So we haven't really done a lot of live investigations simply because 99% of the investigations we conduct where I'm from are personal residences. A lot of people deal with personal hauntings, and so they will contact us and ask us to keep it confidential. So we try not to. We have thrown around the idea. There's a couple local public haunts that people have asked us to do lives with. And you know what it comes down to is it comes down to getting a camera crew that can film it while we're doing the lives. When we're trying to use the equipment, when I'm trying to do a walkthrough, I want to be in the moment. I don't want to be worried about the camera. So my first passion is the investigation, and I don't want to disappoint anybody. I love the camera, but if I had to pick investigating or kind of explaining it, I think it would be investigating. So, if there's anybody out there that's local that wants to film it, then, by all means, we're up for it.
Same here. Yeah.
Excellent.
Right.
I totally agree with you, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever done a Zoom or a StreamYard or anything else at a location? So like if we were at a place and we would Zoom you or whatever, would you be able to read?
I have. Yes, actually, I've done lots of stuff. I have done places I just actually a couple of weeks ago did a live read and walk through in New York. I have done ones down in California. I have done all over the place. So yeah, they walk me through, and if I can see where I got to go, I actually did one with Richard. Richard had me go, and I think it was the Hamilton House, wasn't it? Where I walked through and did some stuff. So absolutely, yeah. No, I'm all for that. I've done some stuff in Europe, and I did one in China, and so yeah.
And Laughlin said he'll film almost anything. Hey, Laughlin. And I think I saw William.
William Nighthawk's in there.
Yep.
Yeah, William, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the show. Thank you for your support. We appreciate seeing you every week. Any other?
That always tends to be the biggest clog in the tube is when you're trying to do a live investigation, like Katie said, getting somebody willing to hold the camera to be able to do it. Because if you're going to do a live, because the hall's got Wi-Fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The hall has Wi-Fi now.
So you can do a live now pretty well through the entire building if you wanted to. But the problem always comes down to is who's going to hold the camera.
The basement, I'll tell you one thing.
There's some places they won't let you do it from.
Yeah, there is definitely some places that they won't do it from. And the basement definitely is one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we tried it and it kept breaking up and we kept getting cut off.
Yeah. But I think if we put a camera down there and ran the camera feed through it so that it wouldn't move. I mean, we could kind of I wonder what would happen if we used that virtual 360 that Billy Wilkerson did for the hall. I bet that would be awesome to do a walkthrough. You know what, Katie? You might just go
for that.
Yep.
Sure.
And I'm going to do the same.
It's a 3-day virtual tour of the hall.
And I'm going to do the same thing with Richard and Lori also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to send you a link.
Cool.
That's a 3D.
You go where you want. You go where you want.
If you go outside and circle that place, you can look all over the place.
Right on.
and it's all 3 floors, and you can see the hall. And I would love to see what you guys, both of you, get. And maybe then what we could do is, I'd love to do a session on just what you pick up, and we can vet it and see how that
Yes,
goes.
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm all for that for sure.
All right, excellent. All right. Another one.
Got him. Hook, line, and sinker.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You
Yes,
know,
Joanne, we were live that night.
And I enjoy watching everybody's lives. Seems like everybody's doing it now. But from our standpoint, yes, Katie, like you said, a lot of the things we do are with clientele, so there's confidentiality thing there.
Yeah.
But I'm like you. I'd rather focus on the investigation than be stuck on the camera, being distracted and missing everything.
Yeah,
it takes
agreed.
a
It took a
special
while for
person.
him to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
And
might
you
have
got me-
broken 1 or 2 cameras along the way, tripping because
How
I'm
do we
looking at the
all?
monitor.
Now, well,
You know-
Billy doesn't mind being behind a camera when something grabs his butt. He'll be all right with that, though.
At least I didn't drop the camera.
Hey, you know, you were
That's
talking.
right. You were a pro, man. You didn't
Another
drop the
strange thing
camera.
about that though was I didn't feel it behind me. I felt it bum rush me. It came up out of the cellar. It bum rushed me right up the staircase. I was looking right at it, and it got me from behind.
What was funny is I remember being on. You were actually shooting. You were my A camera guy, and I'm standing at the top of the stairs, and I can feel the energy coming up the stairs. And I even made mention of that too.
Oh, I felt it
That
coming right at me.
he's just coming right up here at me. And then we stepped away and broke away, and you changed angles. And now you're the one by the cellar door, and it all happens the way it went down for you.
Well,
and,
it was funny too because as the night progressed, you kept making the comment, "Well, it's behind Billy again," and I'm like, "Of course it is."
It was funny because that's where that particular location, Aaron Patterson's one of our investigators. He was actually one of our PAs at that point too, and I remember him filming there with us, and he had a really dramatic paranormal experience happen to him on the stairs, and it sounded like a 5-year-old girl screaming.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the funny thing is it tends to happen is, you get a lot of skeptics, and I come across them all the time, as everybody does. And I love changing their head around. I love being able to take their opinion of the paranormal and spin it before you go home. I love doing that kind of stuff. I think
you know what?
it's
I don't even
amazing.
have to say anything to him. I just want to sit back and watch because when it happens, I want the front row seat.
Well, I'll tell you what will happen. We had a purebred skeptic come to the last event at the Hamilton House, and we do the human pendulum. And he was in the middle, and he was kind of hanging for a minute. And he was a little, and then a question had come up about who attacked Logan, and literally when we said the name, he literally came up off his feet and leaned forward into Lori. And the look at a man's face is like somebody slapped him out of nowhere. And we left for the night. We went to Waffle House, which is our usual thing to do after an investigation. And we ran into 2 of his friends that were there with him that night, but he wasn't there with his wife. And we walked over to him and we said, "Where's your friends at?" "Oh, no, they went home." And I looked at the guy and said, "We caramelized his onion, didn't we?" And he went, "Yeah, you did." I mean, this boy looked like he just lost every faith he had in being a skeptic at that moment. And it's, that's one of the reasons why I love doing the human pendulum, because it works so well. But I mean, for me, we just love investigating anywhere with anyone. But if you get a chance again to investigate with you guys, for me, that's going to be a thrill.
We're definitely looking forward to having you.
It'll even be nice to see you, Bear. It'll even be nice to see Bear's face.
Yep. It'll be nice to see your face.
It'd be nice to see all your faces. That's what it is. At my age, I'm happy to see anybody.
You just happen to be vertical like a lot of us,
That's
right?
right,
There you
exactly.
go.
After 2020, 2021, holy moly. It's just that way.
We've definitely been blessed there at the hall with it staying busy and having people up there
Yeah.
like Realm helping out,
Yeah.
doing things because it's all volunteers. And
Yeah.
Hall's one of those places we want to keep forever. But you know what? We always talk about a lot of different places, and tonight's thing seems to be the hall, but it is a great place.
that's because Richard and Lori are coming up.
Yeah, well, you know something. I gotta say something. You were talking about experiencing in cameras and catching things earlier, and I gotta tell you something. Billy still has that camera knack because we were at Willow Sweep and the documentary has just come out. And folks, if you haven't seen that documentary, please give it a try and look at it. And it's an awesome documentary. And Billy had his FLIR working, and he caught some amazing pictures. And it's in the documentary of Willow Sweep, the beginning, whatever they're calling it. What's the name of the full thing? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm playing. What's the name of the movie, the Willow Sweep movie now?
I don't have it right in front of me either.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, but it's been posted all over the place. It's a super movie, but Billy catches a wonderful thing that was actually a terrifying moment. You want to explain it to him, Billy?
No, I want him to watch the DVD. Dave might be watching right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Well, it is an awesome.
Bearton drove me under the bus.
Yeah.
You have that Greyhound stamp on your forehead, Billy.
Right.
Well, I'll just say that they've been kind to me with the camera.
Yes. And it's very funny.
Did you say that camera's been kind to you?
I said they've been kind to me with the camera.
And that's kind of a blessing.
Yeah.
We only catch what they give us,
Yeah.
That's right.
If they don't want to see them, we're not going to.
Right.
Exactly. And you know what? One of the weirdest EVPs that I've gotten, and I ran across it the other day, and I was playing it back, and it was really interesting because this lady gives a Class A EVP to me, and then she says something right after, which was Class A also, and she says, "Bear, you can keep this."
How cool is that?
That's
a gift.
awesome.
That tells you that when they give you that stuff, it's a gift.
It is a gift. They are letting you know that that's a gift.
$50 bills.
Now, just tell me where the treasure's buried.
Right.
Exactly.
That's a gift.
That's the gift we're all looking for. Yeah. The day that you don't
Share
see
the wealth a little bit.
Yeah, the day you don't see Isaac, Billy, Tanya, and Bear, and they're like, we had a show scheduled and we're not here, and you never hear back from us again.
We
don't know what happened. We have no recollection of the events in question.
Right, exactly. We made
you guys better learn how to share.
We were
saying.
They got to show
us. Come back in that time shift, we will.
Wow.
We've got quite a few places though that we're supposed to be going to here in the very near future. So
yeah,
it'll be nice to be some other places besides our home away from home. But it has our hearts, and
well, we had our locations going. We had a total of 3 locations. So one pre-Civil War 1841 and a couple of 1909. They're all listed on a map of historical locations, and they get a lot of federal government money to keep the buildings going. Well, we had to step away from that because it did have some disrepair, and it's a shame for us, but they can't. They have to choose not to lose the grants to be able to keep the buildings going. And and a lot of the renovations, everything had to be done means we're not able to do the tours. So we kind of have I don't know, we kind of have the bug. So we're trying to find another location to ourselves to be able to do something. And I'm working something with a city park that actually was a fort in 1797. And they are actually and it's really cool. I hope it works out, but if it does, we're going to have a big event there. It literally is the entire fort area grounds, and it started out with having just the stones of the foundations left on the ground. That was it. Over time, but one chimney stuck out, and because of that one chimney that came out of the ground, they were able to actually, they were able to actually get the handwritten blueprints and rebuild the buildings back to spec.
Wow.
So they've gotten what I call a gun house, which is a 2-story, very thick wood block building that had gun holes in the wall. They've got that. They've got an officer's building and officer's quarters, fully restored and rebuilt. They've got a stables fully rebuilt. Blacksmith building, fully rebuilt. Everything's been put together like it was still an active blacksmith building. Cool. It was actually, the fort was the first Cherokee-friendly fort in Tennessee. It also was the first fort in the South to secede to the North. So there's a lot of history on it. It is actually a building grounds that I have been told, go home Yankee.
Really?
So...
Wow.
Yeah.
It was the.
And I have been in the middle of that ground, and I've actually in the middle of the fort, and I've heard cannon fire, just going off in the middle of the night, And it's they've got a Cherokee Chief's cabin. They've rebuilt, so it's and a church. They literally now have, I think 5, 6 or 7 buildings. That are actually together now and built like they were back then. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to do an event there, give people a chance to be able to see the place. And it's run by the city, but they do everything on a rebuild by donation. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try to see if we can do an event there and try to get them some money. That'd be nice.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
That's the Gaines House. Same thing. It is run by Boone County, and the Walton city owns it now, and we're doing this event to be able to open up that house, give them some help up there. That's what we should be doing for paranormal investigators. We keep these places around for historical reasons, not only for the paranormal. They're all great places for the paranormal, but for history, because people are not, a lot of people don't know about the true history. It's all been kept from us, and that's another show in its whole self.
Right?
I get in trouble for, but and that's what it's all about. It's so great to be able to go to these locations, and we've been doing so many of them. Melvin and myself. I just collaborated on a book with a lady down in Sumner County, Tennessee, Tennessee haunts, and investigated a lot of the places, and there's a lot of history and a lot of other stuff. And I think there's going to be a second book coming out, and we're doing some ghost walk and some moonlight tours down there also as we're doing that. We've had the opportunity. We get the opportunity to get into places that a lot of people don't think of or don't. Or it's always great when you're invited into some place, and we hold that so highly. We've got one place that I'd love to discuss with you because it is a strange place for us when we go there. And the owner of the house has asked us to come back again.
Cool.
I'll tell you a place that I really miss. We went to one time, and it just happened to be on Bear's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We were there with Angelia Shearer and Dale Houston, and unfortunately, the place has burnt down since then. But the activity, the full body apparitions, the disembodied voices, it was just insane. This place has a bamboo field behind it, and the bamboo, I swear, is
Huge.
Oh, it's amazing.
around, and you can't move your way through it because they're so close. The bamboo just grows like crazy if you didn't know.
Yeah.
But it was called the Hancock House. It was there in Gallatin, and that place was just phenomenal.
Yeah. And in fact, we were the only people to ever investigate that house,
Wow.
and that place. And
it was that. Is that the third time that they've had a fire there?
third time they've had a fire there. Third time.
It used to be an old where the stagecoaches would come through.
Yep. And that's the same thing with
Well,
the Gaines house.
I did an investigation at a building once in Chattanooga, and this place had 3 or 4 mysterious fires. And so they brought us in because they were having some activity in the place. And they wanted to know what was going on. So we came in, and I had engaged an entity that's there all the time, and his entire job was to burn the place down. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I just want to burn it. I just want to burn it.
Everybody on the team had experiences there. Like I said, multiple team members saw full body apparitions, and there might have even been a mimic there.
Yeah. Yep. There could have been a mimic there. And and the amazing thing about it is that they had a very long bench in the hallway, that things were very active around. And they didn't know what.
Reiterate that very long bench. What was that very long bench?
It was a cooling bench. One to use where they lay off bodies to cool them off after passing.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's really nice. That's great.
I had to test it out.
Yeah,
and of course,
yeah.
Trying to sleep in the place. You hear footsteps going up and down the hall, and you hear Bear you hear that, from across the room, or.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a really, really cool place.
A mimic or
nothing negative, nothing bad about it. They just wanted to.
They wanted
to see who was in the house.
Yeah. The only bad thing about it is I did see Billy walk through the door when he wasn't. I saw Billy go down the hallway when he wasn't in the hallway. That was the only thing where I went, Billy, I just saw you upstairs. I've been upstairs.
I know Father Casey. He witnessed an apparition outside by the cane field. And of course, I witnessed one inside the house in the stairwell.
Yep. And then we all had
I honestly thought it was Father Casey. I thought it was kind of weird that he was wearing buckskin.
Right.
But
hey, at least he was clothed.
What did you think to question that?
When everybody was standing there and I was looking at it, and they're like, "No, Father Casey's in his room," and out comes Father Casey, like, "Oh, somebody talking to me?"
Yeah, I'll tell you, the back area behind the house where that cane field was, there's an old cemetery back there. Everything else, and you talk about active and people. We were hearing disembodied voices just talking to us continually out there.
Well, we even had Angel Lee on with us via phone call, and she actually gave the name of the owner.
Yes.
A message.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah, I didn't either. But it was very interesting. So
it was a very cool place. But the road less travel, guys, you don't have to go to the marquee places to have some really awesome experiences.
Yeah, in fact,
it's not advertised as being haunted doesn't mean it's not.
Right? Exactly. And it is.
I've got we've got an audio that we're going through now of a building that was built in 1995, but people have already had claims of it being active paranormally, and so we've got another. Oh yeah. another 25, 30 minutes left of this one particular recording, and we've already got 7 EVPs that are, in a room that was supposed to have nothing. It was just a recorder that the investigators were told to leave the recorder alone, just set the recorder down, get out of the building.
Yep.
And it was set up on a stage, and man, I mean, listening back to it already, there shouldn't be any reason why a building built in 1995 should be active, right? Well, we all know it could have something to do with the land. But we're sitting here listening to it, and I come across this one sound I thought was interesting because I'm a audio EVP guy. I don't know if y'all know that, but it's one of those kind of things.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. And it was this thing that sounded like a tap dance step. And I'm like, somebody's tap dancing on that stage. And then Lori comes across with it as a
kickball change.
That's the dance step called kickball change, tap dance, everything, hip hop dance step. So I'm like, what? And I pull it up on YouTube, and the guy goes and shows you how to do this step, and it is exactly the same sound. It's amazing. The stuff that you capture is utterly amazing.
And the building was empty, and we're listening to the EVP session, and then you hear this music just start, very low music, but there was no one there to provide music.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this,
and this
guys.
is a building that, people are in this building every day.
Yeah.
Every day they're in this building.
These newer buildings that are having claims and stuff. What is your take? What do you think? What are your different thoughts on that? What could bring these things?
Honestly, to me, the majority of the newer buildings being active is probably the land. I mean, you have something like that. For example, that one piece of evidence, right? If that was something from the land before this building was built, prior to 1995, tap was popular in the 30s and the 40s, right? So we're still not going back very far. But to me, the land could be the biggest catapult to the activity. And that's why, when I've talked to people in the past, man, he just went right through that wall. Well, that wall probably wasn't there when he was around.
Right.
So, you got to get to a point where you got to understand that. But I honestly think that's what it is. I think you've got, buildings that were built on land that was active with things before they put that building there. And that's what you're getting the majority of the activity from, is the previous land activity is now it infiltrating the building. And this is also very intelligent, because at one point we've got somebody walking on stage and running on stage. You can hear the footsteps, and then you hear the tap, and then you hear walking, running back off like they're leaving the stage, because they came out and did a quick couple step performance, and they left. But that's residual because there's nobody there to hear it.
Right. I have
so they're coming out and doing this how often, right? But to me, it's kind of one of those things that you gotta think through it all, because you could have heard a weird noise when, it's this, and then thankfully somebody with better ears for dance and music, comes across as a TV and goes, wait a minute, that's whatever I even forgot what she called it now, but anyway. But it's just kind of one of those things where you can get that. So that's my belief, is that it's kind of the land had the activity before the building was built.
Do they have like any kind of antiques or anything like that in there?
No,
like
I'll be honest with you, it's a school.
Yeah,
it's
I didn't
a
know
school.
If they had like a piano or something in there that was, came
No, the music that we heard was electronic almost, either a hand cranked, chimey type of old timey music, or it was electronic. But it wasn't anything that somebody was sitting there with a bass or a violin. It was music that was played as kind of like a background type music. Yeah. And it was just really odd. Really, really odd.
I was just wondering if there was anything that they had like donated to the place that was older that might have an attachment to it to come in there. Because, I believe that happens as well.
What about you, Katie?
I don't know. I know. What's that?
Katie?
Yeah. So I agree. Absolutely. I think it can be the land. I think there's many different reasons. As Tanya had mentioned, was there something donated, sold, bought, purchased, brought in that could have a tie to it? I also think that it depends on not necessarily just the land or the location, but what's under that. So is there mineral deposits? Is there ley lines? Is there, is there a local area that had some sort of huge traumatic experience that could be kind of honing in on that energy? And it could also be the people involved. People don't realize how powerful they are. And so if you have, a janitor that was there for 50 years bringing that energy in, it may not even have started in the building, but they brought the energy to the building. So there's so many different variables to be considered, but it doesn't always have to be. I mean, what is the building made of? Is it made of concrete, stone, limestone, quartz? Where did the lumber come from? Where did, all of this stuff happen to come from? Was it an old church? Was it an old theater? All of that. So I think it depends. And that's where you do your history, right? It's hard as a psychic medium when I walk in because I want to walk in blindly, but I do have a historian on my team that's kind of what she does. She goes in and kind of delves into the unknown to try to determine, where is the haunt coming from? Most of us just want to pick up the evidence, but there's, myself and my team want to go that much further and kind of find out where it's coming from, not just why is it happening.
Right.
That's an excellent point. I love
You're answering
that.
questions before I can ask them.
Yeah, it's like,
In my head.
Well, I was going to say, we had that happen recently. We did an investigation south of Atlanta, and we went into what was the child's toy room, and there was a doll on the bed that was calling to me. Like, I was just drawn to it and I wanted to pick it up. And during the EVP session,
no.
I asked if I could pick the doll up. And of course, this one, his head snaps around and he
Richard,
says,
is she one of those that has
"No,
to touch
ma'am."
everything?
He wouldn't let me touch it. So I said, I'm going to pick the doll up. And he was like, absolutely not. And when he played it back, when I asked the first time if I could pick up the doll, I was told, go right ahead.
EVP, so go
On
right
the
ahead.
EVP. And then when he says to me, no, ma'am, the doll or the spirit responded for him to rotten hell. We didn't pick up the doll. Then we later learned, we were sharing it with the docent of the building, and she told us that she had purchased those dolls at an antique shop and brought them into the building.
Transference of energy.
And this is why we have jobs, people. Okay, this is why we do what we do.
That's why we're still
Those
able
people
to face
buy
the
stuff
public.
and bring it in.
Yeah. Okay. One of the most horrifying cases that we ourselves were involved with, and it's you see some pretty amazing things. So we're at a home and we're doing an investigation, and sure enough, there is a piece. It's a clock that is very giving off EVP, the whole 9 yards, and it is the bad thing in the room. So we say, okay, well, we need to remove that from your house. Well, no, we don't want you to take it out. And I said, well, let's move it to the garage or whatever. We can take it. We'll take it, and we'll Father Casey will do the stuff. We'll bless it. We'll do all the kind of things that needs to be done to it. And they said, no, we would rather. I think we'd like to sell it to somebody. And I'm like,
Okay, we'll just get it out of your house then. That's going to help your problem.
Right, exactly. I said, well, it could become somebody else's problem. But anyway, so it's about 6 months later, and here we are in a house across the place, and we walk in. And the only difference about this, we walk in and they're talking about this terrible stuff. And as we're touring the house, we look over, and what do we see?
The doll.
That clock.
But we didn't know it was that clock because it was broken at the top.
The top of it was part of the top
of it off.
Yeah.
And we thought that looks really familiar, but it doesn't look quite right.
Yeah. So I called. I mean, we called the people that had that clock, and I says, "What did you do with that clock?" So we sold it for to a lady for $50. And so we started talking to the lady, and I said, so what happened? Oh, we bought this clock for $50. It was great. We brought it into the house. And I mean to tell you,
And found out that they had broke the top part of it trying to get it in.
yeah. And now the clock's pissed.
Well, there was a whole lot more going on there than that clock.
Oh, there was. But it's funny how you see the same thing, and you know, but there was energy coming from that clock still at that time, you know. Yeah, this clock, it didn't burn Bibles where it was the other time, but they did at this house. But I mean, at the other thing, it wasn't the clock. So something else was there that was doing that kind of.
I mean, I already have a personal issue with dolls. Just two. I don't do dolls very well.
Room.
What's that?
I said you need to stay out of Mary Elizabeth's room.
I know. I've been there before. It didn't do me any good there either. Didn't do me any good there either.
Cabinet, and I need to let you hold to see if you get any feelings.
No, we don't. No, sir. No, sir. That's an immediate no, ma'am. That's an immediate no for me. Thank you.
I'm gonna do
No.
finger.
No, that's an immediate no. And I had a lady, in a case 15 years ago when we first started doing and documenting and putting up, our show a long time ago. And we got a call from this lady who overheard me discussing with my camera guys, my crew, and at another location, hey, I'd like for you to come on out and investigate my home. And yes, you can go ahead and tape it and all this other stuff. And I walk into the room doing a daytime walkthrough, and there's like 40 dolls draped across the bed that was going to become her 9-year-old granddaughter's bed. What's that?
I don't have
It was going to become her 9-year-old granddaughter's bed, and there were all of these dolls. And now, mind you, I have a habit of picking things around in my head, going, "That wasn't the way that was." So we saw the dolls lined up on the back of the bed, above the pillow, against the headboard. I went, "Oh Christ!" So then we leave the room. We come back probably about an hour later and start filming upstairs. And I go into that room, and one of the dolls, in particular, I didn't like, was now 4 feet down on the bed and just staring. Just had that look, dolls have fixed eyes, but just like glare. And I remember being on camera, and I remember looking into the camera and go, "Why is the doll staring at me?" Because it's creeping me out. It's creeping me out. And then literally, you hear Class A. Actually, not Class A, disembodied. You hear a disembodied growl come from the doll. So at the end of the show, we asked beforehand what the lady wanted us to do with the activity. And she says, "Oh, I just enjoy it. It's fine." You're crazy, but okay.
We need to take a field trip to the island of the dolls.
Todd, I said to her, I said, you realize where dolls came from, that whole idea originated from, right?
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, okay, so they used to design dolls to resemble the person who died and leave them in a coffin, so that way the spirit could travel over to the doll so they could keep the spirit free at the house.
Yep.
How about you? You got 40 of those boogers.
Katie, Jane's
they're a house for spirits.
Yeah, Code Brown. Oh yeah, that's a Code Brown right there. The day that you guys go to that doll place, I am going to be walking my goldfish. Okay, that day I have goldfish to walk. I won't be able to make it. Okay? Just so you know, I apologize. I can't do it that day. Okay.
No. Rearranging my sock drawer. Thank you, though.
Right.
Let me ask you guys this.
Wow.
I know that everybody on this screen here is available to help people. People can reach out to us and advice.
Unless you have dolls.
Right. But with that being said, how often do you guys come across these cases where the people want you to come and help? You try to set it up and they don't want to talk. And then they hit you up again. When are you going to help me? But you can't get a reply back. when you're going to help
Yeah.
me. How often does that happen to you? And what would you say to these people? I mean, as far as what would your recommendation be?
When I used to do residentials, because I don't do that many residentials anymore. It kind of comes down to a point where you've got to have insurance for this, and you got to have a witness for that, and you got to do an interview statement before you even touch anything, and you got to make sure they're not on all kinds of hallucinogenics, and I mean it's just crazy. So I've had that situation where they pretty much begged you for help, and then like you said, you reach out and go, "Hey, this is the weekends we have available. What day do you want for us to come out?" And not get a response. And then they have the audacity to complain that you're not getting back to them. I'm like, what? No, I've tried to reach out to you twice. So it's just, to me, it's either you got too much going on in your life or something. Because if you want help bad enough, and I've literally had people stop me on the street when they see my shirt I'm wearing, going, "Hey, my house is this and my house is that." Now you want to help people, you really do. I think people are at times, and I hate saying this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think at times they're their own worst enemy. I think at times I
always
What's
say
that?
that if you live in chaos, you're going to breed chaos.
Oh, behavior breeds behavior. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I'm just saying that if you're reaching out to somebody for help, guys, go ahead and take the next step and allow them to come in and help you. I mean, don't get us to the door and then like, no, I don't want to do it. And then come back to the door. No, I don't want to do it, guys. We want to help you, but there's other people waiting in line.
All right. And the other bad thing,
if you're not willing to help yourself, there's not anything that anybody else can do to help you either.
Right.
Right.
And I found that, I had an instance like that in one of my last recreational investigations, and second to last. And the lady was all on it. The lady was like all about it. "Yeah, I got to get you out. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, I can't take it anymore." And you get to the house when your crew do a walkthrough, just kind of get a safety walk through the house before you do the investigation that night. "Well, no, we've changed our mind."
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, who helped you change your mind? Because when you talk to me, you're pretty well set on needing to get this done. It turns out that it was a spouse who didn't want us there, or did not believe, was a skeptic, and they are like, "You're not having those people in my house. You're just not." And so you have that conflict because this as an instance was a lady who she was home all the time. She was a homemaker, and her husband was on the road as a trucker, so he didn't had to deal with the activity the way she did. Then he was a skeptic, so that didn't help.
Katie, you come across
I've had those experiences.
I'm pretty lucky when people I get calls 4 or 5 times a week. I'm not gonna lie. I had 3 today where people were having different paranormal experiences or were worried about a haunted object or saw something and they didn't know what to expect or didn't know what steps to take next. So when I step into it, I kind of I'll go through it. I'll spend quite a long time on the phone with them trying to get people to open up. Up here where I'm located, people are not open to talk about it as much. People are afraid to be judged. And so a lot of times people are at their wits' end when they contact me. They're like, I'm willing to take a risk to be judged to find out if you can help me. So in terms of like getting into something and then them not contacting me back or not allowing me, and that's very rare. It has happened. 90% of the circumstances, if I run into problems, it's people are choosing not to do what I ask them to do.
Right.
So I'll take them through cleansing procedures. I'll go in and cleanse the house. When I go into an investigation and a cleansing, it's very important for me to be able to teach the client how to do it because it's the active intent, right? So not only am I cleansing the location, but I'm making them do it with me and kind of taking them through the process. If you're not going to take it that seriously, there's not much more I can do for you. So I've had certain circumstances where a paranormal team has come in, or 2 or 3 teams have come into a location, and they're still having activity, or they still don't feel that the job is done, or they're still, and most of the time those people are enjoying the activity. They may not admit it, but they like the fact that the teams are coming in, which to each his own. I'm not here to judge. But if you're phoning me asking me to get rid of this evil demonic spirit, allegedly, then why is, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are so many people coming in? So at that case, one of my interview questions, is how many teams have been in, who else has been in, what, and may I contact them? Do I have permission to contact them? And then we'll correlate, and you get both sides of the story. So I'm pretty lucky in terms of, letting us come in, but it's really, are you going to take me as seriously as I'm telling you you have to be in this situation?
Yeah.
Right. Guys, if you're having this activity and it's paranormal, and you feel threatened to the point where you reach out for help, don't be lured into thinking, okay, we'll back off as long as you don't bring nobody else in to check it out. And then they're in the same boat again.
Yeah.
They feel threatened again. They're not going to change. I mean, if you actually have paranormal activity going on and you feel threatened, you need to get somebody in to help you. Don't be lured into thinking that, we'll back off or they'll back off and let you have your peace, because it doesn't usually work that way.
No.
If you're not strong enough and your intent's not strong enough to take back control of your home, then let somebody else help you.
You need
Don't
to
be afraid.
That's a great point. We've actually talked about this on our show a few times. We're all about getting somebody out to come out to your house. I've got people that have reached out to me. I know people have reached out to Katie from the show and go, hey, we've got this crazy stuff going on in our home. Yeah. And they want to reach out to a team and go, hey, come out and investigate this. To me, the only challenge I run into with that is just get a hold of a team that has a way to be able to help. Don't get a hold of a team that just wants to come out there and jack it through the roof. And then, hey, I get to leave and you get to stay. And now you're stuck with it. So if a team that you bring in, I would ask questions like, do you have someone that is capable and is able to cleanse a place? Do you have someone that is a psychic medium? I think every team should have a psychic medium. That's not me just saying that for me. That's just me saying that. I think for us as investigators, I think that puts an additional tool in our box that a lot of teams don't have. And I think, if you go into with a psychic medium and, they're able to read the energy and the intent from the spirit and all of that, that'll help. But if you have no way to help the person, don't go in there and crank the crap out of it. Please don't do that. You're going to want to make teams like ours go out here and have to clean up after you. And nobody should have to do that. So I had one occasion where I had a lady call me in tears. And that's back when I had my phone number on our website. I said, what's wrong? She said, well, I just had a team out to my house the other night because something was messing with my child, this 9-year-old child. And this team was dragging the child around during its investigation, telling them to come after the child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, that's my only recommendation. People should reach out to teams that are professional, that are established, that are equipped with the right people in their portfolio to be able to work with that can help. Because a lot of times there's a lot of folks out there, and I'll catch heat for this, and I don't really care. There's a lot of yahoos out there. You and I and everybody on the screen knows what I'm talking about. There's a lot of yahoos out there that don't have the intent to help, just want to get their jollies in an active location, and they're done. That's not what we do this for.
No.
We do it to help people be able to get through the suffering and maybe give them some relief, right? So that's my only thing on that. That's my takeaway. Get a hold of a team, but by God, ask some questions yourself.
Exactly. And one of the things I emphasize about what Katie mentioned, Katie, the biggest thing about it is if you're going to ask for help and you're going to do this, please, if a team comes in and says to you this is what you need to do. This is what we need to do. There's things that you can change in your life to make things easier and better. Please do it, because if you don't do it, it doesn't change. It's just like you're just recycling that same old crap back over and back over again. And you can sage your house 100,000 times if you want, or you can make the change that's affecting this. Do it and then be done with it once and for all.
And here's some food for thought too. I mean, like I said, if you're living in chaos and an activity ramps up at your house, it might just be a loved one telling you to get your crap together and straighten up.
Yep.
Agree. Yep, not always bad. I think, unfortunately, mainstream television makes us think because we see the worst case scenarios. So it kind of indoctrinates us to think that it is always the worst case scenario, and it's not. We had an investigation a few years back where, the woman swore it was a demon, and it was a ghost of a dog, and it would scratch, jumping up, trying to say hello. Like, I mean, we got it on BBC, we got it on camera, all of it. And so once that stipulation of fear is gone, they're like, okay. It's not so bad, but they're so used to seeing what they expect to see on television that's what your mind goes to every single time. So it's really about educating. I think that we need to bring paranormal back to an education level and educating people to kind of think for themselves. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean don't go to worst case scenario.
Right.
It's not always that bad.
Good point.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I had a case too and this is another point to this too. There are some cases you go out to that because of the this is briefly touched in the conversation point, but there are some places you'll go out to where the people's behavior, the lifestyle they're living, what have you, is not conducive to cleaning the place. It's not. I have gone out on many investigations / cleansings, and I've looked at the homeowner and went, this is just going to be a Band-Aid. Because if you're going to continue to do the things you're doing, or you're going to continue to choose to do what you're doing, you're not willing to listen when I'm able to tell you to change. Because with some of the heavy activity, they've almost got to change the essence of who they are.
Exactly.
And a lot of times people aren't willing to do that.
Right.
But when you go in there, they expect you to go in there, wipe the place out of the ghosties, and hey, everything's gonna be perfect tomorrow morning. That may not happen.
Yep.
And if you don't change the behaviors, you don't change the attitudes, you don't change what's going on around you, this is just a Band-Aid, and it'll be all up in your face again in a couple of weeks or a month. It's gonna be all up in your face. I can't guarantee it.
Yeah. Perfectly said too, because that's what happens. We've been sitting here. I just love sitting here, like being in the living room, talking to you guys, and the chat room there also. And thank you, chat room, for all your great comments and some of the things that you're saying. And we love you all. It's getting close to the end of the show, so I'm going to hit you with one question. It's probably the massive question of it all, but we'll have to really quickly. And then we'll say goodnight, and we'll have you talk about let's talk about it and all that good stuff, and how they can get a hold of each of you and do this wonderful stuff. So, but as we go through as paranormal investigators, and we do these things for helping clean houses and everything else, what do you think about the investigators that don't understand about that do this and don't understand about being marked? Do you understand what I say when I mean we're marked?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah. I think it's a very tough. I think it's a very tough and very traumatic lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very quick thing to learn when it happens.
You got to learn very fast.
I tell you what, I want to know, when we all go to the other side, are we going to be met with handcuffs?
Yeah, we're going to be put somewhere.
Well, some of the stuff that we've been through, we're liable to give a tour of the place. Yeah, that's funny because people being marked, they just don't understand that at all. And it's a shame because it's going to be, it's going to be a day of reckoning when they do. But, people have to learn. You can't explain it either. You really can't explain it very well to people. They just have to experience it.
Yeah. Katie, what do you think about it?
I think that it's a pretty ignorant assumption to think that the other side is not aware of us. I think it's a pretty ignorant assumption to think that we can go in with cameras and they don't see through us. Pardon the pun. There's certain circumstances that kind of stipulate that, and I also think that sometimes they want to throw their weight around. Doing what I do, people ask me all the time. Do you get tired? Do you get affected? Yes. Absolutely. My day job is readings. My night job is I say job. I don't get paid for doing investigations, and I don't charge for any of those things. But that's kind of my life, and it takes a toll. And I don't think people realize how much you put into it, and how much you're giving a little piece of your light source to do this. So
Yes.
You're being marked from that angle. But I also think from a cryptozoology, extraterrestrial kind of getting into the hidden agendas, I think you're marked in that respect too. So you're kind of being marked on both levels. And it's I tell people it's not a matter of if you're gonna get an attachment, whether it be physical or spiritual, but it's a matter of when and what steps you're going to take necessary to cleanse and to try and disconnect that attachment to make sure that you're safe. I have a colleague on one of the TV shows that I do. She was a very, very well known psychic medium who is no longer on this side of the earth. She passed away, and I'm a firm believer that she was marked. And I think she literally just went through organ failure and died. There's no rhyme or reason for it. And so
Right.
I think that that happens. As a matter of fact, I think with this whole thing that's been happening for the last couple of years, we will not mention, there's been a lot of energy and light workers that have been targeted.
Yes.
Very targeted, myself included. My whole family came down with COVID, and I was close to death. They basically told me, it's hit or miss. So,
Yeah.
Ignorantly, before I got sick, I would not have said I would ever have been somebody who could have gotten that sick from it, and I did. And so, lesson learned. But I know a lot of energy workers and light workers that they have all, whether it be heart attacks, strokes, influenzas, COVID, whatever you want to call it, they've been suffering, and I think it's a spiritual warfare.
Yeah, it definitely is a spiritual warfare. I'll tell you right now, our team did the end of 2021 after wearing ourselves down pretty heavy during the early part of it and in
Yep.
the end. There's no doubt that we were all underneath the spiritual attack, and things happen to your family, deaths, weird things that just keep on continuing and just drag you through it, sicknesses and not being well. And you've got to be aware that that goes on, and it's really something. And the other weird thing about it is that we have this happen a lot. Billy, Tanya, and on the show we've mentioned it to a lot of our people, our listeners. When we go somewhere to do our job, they can interfere with what we're trying to do. They will make it terrible. Your GPS will take you 50 miles out of the way. You will have the weirdest things happen to you that are just not the ordinary type of things. And so when you finally get there, it's like going, wow, but you have that also happen to you.
Absolutely. I had a group session one time. I was doing a group reading, and it happened to be a haunted location. And so there was the resident entity was there, and he was kicking my chair and pushing my chair and moving things. And I'm literally being shoved out of my chair, and the back of the chair is being lifted. So everybody thought that was a pretty good kick. So at the end, I did a walkthrough after, and I wanted to feel a little bit more about this gentleman. And he was pretty ignorant. He did not want me to know I was there, or he was there. And so I made a comment. I made it, I don't want to say derogatory, but I just kind of wrote him off and said, he's just being rude, ignore him. And so I had left for the night, and I was on my way home, and long story short, my cell phone that was in my purse ended up in the middle of my backyard, where I did not walk, I did not go, I did not, nowhere close to that. And basically he was asserting his power, kind of going, oh, you think you're that tough, huh? Like, look at what I can do. And so, yes, to answer your question, I've had those instances where they assert their power when they want to. They assert the night before I came down and I tested positive for COVID. I was actually at one of the infamous spots that we go to, and it was the worst night. I've been there probably 50 to 75 times, and out of all the times, it was the worst night I'd ever been there. And I'm a firm believer that they kind of went, huh, and marked it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would have been too.
That's why we always tell everybody not to leave their keys on the table at the hall, because you might end up missing your keys.
Yeah.
Right?
Hilarious.
If I leave my wallet, will you put money in it?
Yes, exactly.
Wouldn't it be nice if that worked that way?
Right.
No, it would be. It would be. But guys, it's always a pleasure having you on. Look, folks,
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank
guys,
you.
would like to hear some more of these great two psychics, paranormal investigators, great beings that are passing along great information to the people. Please tune in to them. You're going to just really enjoy their kind of show, because it's called Let's Talk About It. It's on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. And you can see those two wonderful people right there. And you guys want to talk about anything else? What's going on next, and what's happening at Let's Talk About It? How can people get a hold of you all?
Well, with us, the show has its own Facebook page. Let's Talk About It on Facebook. We all both have our individual pages as well that people can reach out to us. The show is set up simulcast through Facebook on my page, and then also on two networks that we are currently working with as well. The Things Network and the Paralinks network as well. And that's just in case you came missing. And we're going to be also getting on YouTube with it. And yeah, we've been doing it now with 2 years, almost 2 years now. So it's really evolved. It went from a half an hour, or an hour rather, to an hour and a half on demand from the people watching the show. So we're very thankful that they have, kind of pushed that and pushed us to be able to give more time. And, it's just a lot of information. We just try to get out there. But that's how you can get a hold of us.
For sure.
Excellent.
I will say, you guys are always come up with topics to talk about. We just kind of run with it, We let the kids loose in the yard, and we watch everybody play,
Honestly, we have been doing, we call it an open format. We have been doing that ourselves for about the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's been received very, very well. We do bring in topics. We do. We do bring in the viewer questions when they have. We pull them off the chat room, bring them into the screen, and answer their questions directly, and try to involve them in the show with that. That's why we call it an interactive paranormal talk show. We get a lot from the people that watch our show to be able to talk about and bring through. And really, it's the whole thing is designed for them to be able to edify them and to help them in some way, or maybe they can share it with somebody that it will help. So that's really what we do it for.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So everybody be sure to click over and check them out and like them and share them. And
yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
We need more of you guys, and we appreciate it very much. Stay tuned. I'm going to put you in the green room. We want to thank you again for the time the 2 hours that you spent with us. It went by super fast. Didn't seem like 2 hours, but yes.
No, time
Never
flies.
does.
Yeah.
But
Never does.
I'm going to stick you in the green room. We'll talk to you just in a second afterwards, if it's all right with you guys. So once again, let's talk about it on Sunday nights on Facebook. Don't miss it, folks. It's that much. I enjoyed the last show tremendously. So check out Signs. You can see it on their Facebook page. And thank you, Richard. Lori, it was a pleasure having you on. And Katie Turner, it is always a pleasure with you also. So
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Guys.
Night, everyone.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to Into the Fire. Billy and Tanya, thank you for a wonderful show. And we will be back next week. Next week, we take you into with a gentleman that we've had here before. Ronnie Dees is going to be a guest, and we're going to be talking about his new location in Harriman, Tennessee. So tune in next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central at 9 p.m. on Eastern Time. And thank you all for taking this venture with us and going into the fire.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.